Right, so Keir Starmer is yet again up to his eyes in a whole new scandal, it seems. It's like every other day there's something else with this government, isn't it? But this time it is in relation to Keir Starmer's plans to invest in artificial intelligence technology. And one of his aides in Downing Street, who, prior to taking the job working for Starmer, worked for an advisory firm with strong ties to MI6, and which also has its own investment fund in the AI industry. It seems that Starmer's advisor still holds financial interests in the company AI business, as he also is in a position to help Starmer shape AI sector policy. So do we have a massive conflict of interest here? Well, I think so. But despite attempts to clear the matter up, there are still outstanding questions, and it would appear potential outstanding conflicts too. So what is being done about that? Because if it's nothing, is this guy in a position to embark on some insider trading by shaping the very policy that would suit his own financial interests in the AI sector? And more importantly, why is this not a massive, glaring problem for Keir Starmer? And why are the mainstream media yet again ignoring a massive story completely? Right, so insider trading, Downing Street, artificial intelligence, and no, before anyone asks, Keir Starmer doesn't actually count as that, despite having less personality than C-3PO before an oil change. He's in trouble again, folks, but not as much as perhaps he should be. Because yet again, it is the excellent investigative journalism of open democracy, independent journalism, that has exposed what is clearly an ongoing conflict of interest at the very least, but at the very worst could amount to a guy being in Downing Street who is also in a position to conduct insider trading on the matter of AI to potentially benefit himself. At least that is certainly how this story is reading to me. So what's going on here then, Damo? Well, as some of you might well be aware, Keir Starmer wants to invest public money, our money, your money, he can find it for stuff he wants to do, you see, in AI research and technology. It's all part of Starmer and Reeves's grand plan to grow the economy by doing anything but making us better off. Anything but putting more cash in our pockets, which is the most obvious and easiest way to boost the economy if we go out spending money. So they're taking something like AI, all very cutting edge and futuristic, and Elon Musk is going to make Terminator a reality, isn't he? And stuff like that. But rest assured, when something sounds remotely interesting, you can rely on Keir Starmer to make it about as dull as dishwater. In the King's Speech, there was a bit on something called the Product Safety and Metrology Bill. Metrology relates to anything metric sounding, weights and measures, if you will. But because Labour simply see AI as a new technology to be advanced, including it in this bill relegates it to no more of an importance than, say, an e-bike battery, for example. I did say dulled it down, didn't I? But while Starmer might be going a bit Silicon Valley on investment in AI, treating it as just another technology indicates that what is actually coming with it will be very little by way of actual regulation on it. Now, whilst we might look at that and perhaps shrug our shoulders a bit, it seems there is a story here, and it concerns Starmer's advisor in number 10 for business and investment, a guy called Varon Chandra. Now, Chandra was appointed to this advisor role back in July, and it was at the end of July that this AI investment plan as it stands now, as opposed to it getting lumped in under a more generic and dull product safety and metrology bill, the actual investment in it as a technology came to public attention more. So there's an argument for saying this was Chandra's doing then. It could certainly come across that way. Now, to take up this role in number 10, Chandra stepped down from his previous job, his former role, as chairman of the strategic advisory firm Hacklight & Company, which is based in Mayfair, but also has offices in Manhattan and Singapore, all very swish, and according to its 2021 figures has an annual revenue of some £85 million, so not too shabby. Hacklight was set up in 1995 by former officials who had worked for MI6, and has employed people leaving the British intelligence service ever since, to the point it has been nicknamed a retirement home for spies. A management consultancy business, as it basically is though, run by former British intelligence operatives. You wonder what sort of advice might be being given, quite honestly. But this is who Hacklight are at any rate. The only other point worth making at this point before I get on to Varon Chandra is that last year, going into the general election campaign, Labour under Keir Starmer employed Hacklight as an in to the British business community in order to woo them over to Starmer's side. So there's already a bit of a track record with this company. By this July, Labour having won the general election, in came Varon Chandra from Hacklight as that business and investment advisor in number 10. Now, as someone working for a management and investment company, Chandra had investments of his own, And at this point, I think an excerpt from Open Democracy's coverage to explain matters going forwards would be appropriate. Varon Chandra was appointed as Number 10's Business and Investment Advisor in July, leaving behind his previous role as chairman of Hacklight & Company, a strategic advisory firm. But Open Democracy has learned that Chandra still has a stake in Hacklight's AI backing investment fund, according to Companies House documents. The firms backed by the fund include one with a multi-million-pound NHS contract. After the election, one of the government's first acts was to launch a review into AI policy to identify how the technology can drive economic growth. The review was led by Matt Clifford, a venture capitalist and well-known figure in the AI and broader tech investment sector, who sits on Hacklight Capital's advisory board. But records show that Chandra and Clifford co-chaired a meeting with the heads of major AI companies in Downing Street on the 15th of August this year, despite Chandra having no publicly stated role in the review. Since Chandra took up his role in Downing Street, Bloomberg has reported that Hacklight has agreed to buy back his shares in the company at a fixed rate over time. This is understood to be a fairly standard arrangement for senior consultants and business figures entering government. But apart from holding these shares in Hacklight & Company, Chandra still holds a stake in an investment fund he helped set up whilst at Hacklight. So Chandra still has a stake in Hacklight's AI investment portfolio, which includes investment in the NHS via a multi-million-pound contract. AI technology has been pushed by venture capitalism at government level, as per usual in this country. And Chandra, although apparently surrendering his investment with Hacklight in the AI industry, is doing so bit by bit, which might be industry standard, but still smacks of being in a position to influence whatever waning financial interest he might still have, surely. However, that isn't the end of it. Where Chandra might be surrendering his interest in Hacklight's own holdings with regards to AI, it seems that it isn't his only financial interest in the technology. Open Democracy have discovered, and had this confirmed by Hacklight too, that Chandra remains a partner in an entity called Hacklight Capital 1 Pooling LP. This is an investment fund, sort of like a mini hedge fund, which has, according to documentation Open Democracy have seen, made investments in other companies to the tune of some $50 million. And some of these companies are AI firms. So what exactly is Varon Chandra's stake in this investment fund? We don't know. It is unknown. However, just the fact that he has an investment linked to AI, which he is not required to surrender, it seems. Hacklight have told Open Democracy that they know of no attempt by Chandra to sell his stake in this, and is now in a position to be shaping AI policy at Number 10, which he is apparently doing by co-chairing meetings on such matters, despite having no named role in the AI review that venture capitalist Matt Clifford is conducting. That is a red flag on its own, a big fat one in my mind. That Chandra still has financial interest in AI is an even bigger one, though. Which companies does his investment fund deal with in regards to AI? Who have they invested in? Will they get government contracts off the back of this review? Will Chandra personally benefit from that as he involves himself in AI policy behind the big black door of Number 10 Downing Street? Does this not count as insider trading if all of this eventually gets proven as having come to pass as well? It's another rabbit hole to go down. You just don't know at this point where it will lead. Enough concrete evidence is not yet known, but there's certainly enough circumstantial evidence to arouse a lot of suspicion here. Government advisors like Chandra are not held to the same strict rules as ministers with regards to meetings, and that lack of transparency has people asking questions. There's a lot more detail that Open Democracy's investigation goes into here. Do go and read the whole article. It's well worth it. It's titled, Revealed Number 10 Advisor Involved in AI Policy Has Financial Interest in AI. So go Google that and read the whole thing. It's another mess Starmer and co are bringing down on their heads. Another scandal, and we need answers to it. We need to know that AI policy is being shaped transparently in government and not in the financial interests of an advisor nobody's really heard of. Chandra is just the latest new staffer in the new government tied to scandal, though, and even though this government is only a little over 100 days old now, he's not even the first. One of the worst, arguably, though, is the guy who set up Starmer to take over the country by destroying all the hope his predecessor as the Labour leader had on offer. Starmer as Prime Minister is just a symptom of the Labour right's desperation to be in control, and all the hope we had once upon a time has been cleared off the table and replaced by more Tory austerity. Morgan McSweeney is the man we apparently have to thank for that, and he's come with some baggage too. Get the details of all of that in this video recommendation here as your suggested next watch, I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.